This episode of the Warband was recorded on camera in person, so if you would prefer a video format, there is a link to the YouTube video in the description. Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Swaglock, your host, and as always, but for the first time on video today, your favorite co-host, Chicken. Dude, Chicken, it's episode 52, a whole year.
52, one whole year. Dude, it's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
It doesn't feel like a year. It really doesn't feel like a year, but there's been so many other things that have gone on in this whole year that it's like,
baby?
And getting married, and dude, this has been a long year. So I'm glad that you guys were available for this year with us, kind of going along with us this year. But do you think, here's my first question of the podcast. Do you think people thought we would have this good of quality when they heard us say we're going to do an in-person video podcast? Do you honestly think people thought that?
Well, actually, it's all because of our Patreon supporters who have helped fund us building this podcast studio, which is kind of crazy.
Dude, Patreon, it's all you. I mean, you paid for these lovely chairs, these lovely mic stands that cost more than the microphones themselves.
Yeah, that's true, they do.
And everything in the background, no, that is all a lie. This is just a space that we're able to use because of our co-host here, Swag.
Yeah, this is a space I use for work, and so his
day-to-day job. So.
But it is cool to be able to sit down on camera and record together. Like, this is the first time, by the way, we've ever recorded in person together, right? Like, normally we're on a Discord call. That's our traditional, recording method. And so if you're watching today, if you're not watching, by the way, if you're still listening on Spotify, let me clarify. You can watch on YouTube. We're going to include a link to the YouTube video in the description. So if you would prefer to watch this one on video, I would really encourage it because it's kind of a special. Even if you listen to the whole thing and then go back and just pop into the video for a second, you can see us sitting here chatting together. It is something cool. Yeah, and again, 52 weeks, a whole year. So 1 year ago, we had posted our first episode. And we're definitely going to be talking about Warcraft today. Like 100%, we got some awesome questions coming in from our listeners about Warcraft. We have so much to talk about in terms of like midnight content, things going on there. Yeah. But I do think, Chicken, that it's fair for us to take a second and chat about like what it was like launching the podcast.
Oh, man. So it was crazy.
Yeah, and I don't think people know this. I don't know if we've talked about this before or not, but you were really the one who
we definitely
drove the concept of us doing a podcast together, right? This was ultimately your dream. You inspired me, but it took a minute of you being come on, Swag, when are we doing this? When are we doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a few podcasts in the past with a buddy, and they weren't very successful, to be honest, but they're enjoyable, they're fun to do. You kind of sit down and talk. Half the time when I talk about WoW, it's mostly with myself in the car, to be honest. Or I like to say that I'm talking with God about WoW and that He's enjoyed to sit and listen. But typically it's me just like, they should do this in WoW, and just thinking about WoW in the car. Like typically, that is literally me. Like it's kind of like a little psychotic to say out loud, and maybe you think I'm like some psychopath that talks to myself in the car. But and I had a little experience podcasting, but this, I don't know if I've ever told you this.
Yeah.
But there was one video that kind of stuck out to me, and Swag and I have done a lot of content creation in the past, and you've been a lot more. What's the word? Consistent. Yeah. It definitely is the word than I have been. And I mean, we can see that in your peaks. I mean, you definitely grew a lot more than I did. And not necessarily because of maybe that consistency, but because of, some of the knowledge you have.
Yeah.
But there's a video by Harris Heller, actually. I don't know if you know.
He's got great streaming content that he posts online. Yeah.
And his video was the greatest content that you could do is a podcast because you can strip that down. You can put audio on Spotify. You can put audio on YouTube, all that. Yeah. Then you can even strip that down even further into, you know, small clip segments. You know, we do like questions for YouTube or something, or we talk about WoW. You know, we got a couple of things to talk about today. You can split those down, like news for the week. You can make a 7-minute YouTube video, but then you can also split that down into maybe funny moments for shorts. So it's basically like podcasting is honestly maybe some of the easiest content to start and grow because there's so many avenues to go. And maybe that was some of the inspiration behind it, but I don't know. I just like getting down talking about WoW. So,
absolutely.
I know you do. So,
oh, dude, I love. Well, because that I think is where a lot of it started for you and I. So you had mentioned and you brought up. So why don't we go back to the very beginning? How Chicken and I actually kind of met, how we got connected. It was actually a church small group. So we ended up in the small group together, and we like kind of introduced ourselves to each other. And I find out this dude plays Fortnite, and at that point, I didn't have a gaming PC. There was a season of my life where I just didn't have a computer that I could game on. After college I was like kind of broke, so I didn't. And then I got married pretty quickly, and I just didn't have like people are like, sorry, didn't you just get married? I was married once before. And so it wasn't a high value that I didn't have a game PC. So I was just playing on a console, and the console game at the time I was into was Fortnite. And I found this dude is into Fortnite. And I had just started making like YouTube videos, mostly of me just trolling children on Fortnite. Like,
yeah, we did a lot.
It was me just messing with whoever was in VC, right? And chatting. And I was like, dude, you're good at the game. Can you help me make content?
Okay, yeah.
Which in hindsight, dude, like that content I was making was so cringe. And you were just like, yeah, I'll do it.
That was pretty cringe.
And so we literally built our friendship early on.
That's pretty true.
Just making content together and doing fun things. And at some point while we were streaming, because I think we were both streaming at that time.
Yeah.
I think I started first, but then you
you definitely started first. Yeah.
And we ended up opening the door for Minecraft content, right?
Yeah,
and
Minecraft.
So
Minecraft.
I'd made a couple Minecraft videos for TikTok. At this point, I did have some decent success with Fortnite on TikTok. On
Oh my goodness.
I had a couple videos with like 1 million views on them for Fortnite, doing well. And we switched to Minecraft, and all of a sudden, Minecraft though, that content was blowing up on YouTube.
Yeah, that content did do very well.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
I think my top video on TikTok is like 23.5 million views.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But back then, and it actually goes into some of the TikTok stuff now that I'm doing with WoW. Back then, like if I didn't get 1 million views on the video, I thought that video was a failure.
Yeah, right.
I was like, unless it hits 1 million, it's not like a good video,
it's not
right?
Very good, yeah.
Which totally changed how I perceive content, right?
Yeah.
However, the problem is like Minecraft's a fun game, but like most people, I get really into it for like 3 weeks out of the year. I play the heck out of it, and then I'm done. Right? I'm like,
hard, yeah.
I'm like, I burned myself out. I'm good. I'll come back next year. The mines will wait, right? But there's always been one game for me that has been like exceptional, and it's just World of Warcraft. And again, I'd taken a break, but as I got into streaming, I had built a computer again, and at some point, I don't remember why it was. I think I was burning out on the Minecraft content.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make content anymore. I think I had been going through my divorce at that time.
Yes.
So everything, it wasn't, my divorce hadn't started, but you could tell, things were happening. And so it was hard for me to just make content. It was like difficult to like make content, especially about something I really didn't love that much. And I listen, we're making a WoW podcast. I could not make a Minecraft podcast. I would just, after like 3 episodes, I'd be like, okay, that's everything. Man. I can talk to you about Redstone. I don't know the lore. I don't know like all the mechanics and secrets of the game. And I burned out, and I was like, I'm just going to go play some WoW. I don't even care about content right now. I had made a second Twitch channel just for WoW content. So I had like my main channel, the Swag Lock, and then I had Swag Plays WoW. And I found that I was just streaming on Swag Plays WoW all the time.
So much more. Oh, yeah.
Right. And so eventually I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go into WoW content. And really at that point, I was making some YouTube videos lightheartedly. I was streaming WoW. But I kind of gave up on like successfully doing content because I was like, I came from Minecraft and Fortnite where I was getting crazy views. I just can't it's hard to go from that and accept something less, right?
I mean, You got some YouTube videos that have a fair amount of views on them.
I do have one. I think I have one WoW video that's like 250,000 or something.
That's still a lot.
Which is good. Actually, it's my best YouTube video.
Yeah.
By the way. But all that to say though, like I was starting to make some WoW content again, and at this time there's a pizza buffet. This is important to the lore. This is important, by the way. People want lore. This is Warband lore. This is Warband lore. So there's a pizza buffet that was near us. It's gone now. They had to close that location. I guess we didn't keep them in business. However, we would sit there and just talk about WoW. I think one time our wives showed up, or my girlfriend at the time, your wife, showed up to sit with us and eat, and we just talked about WoW the whole time, and they never came back. That was the last time they joined us for our pizza. But literally, we would just sit and talk about WoW. Or I'd go over to your house and hang out for a little bit, and we would just sit and talk about WoW. It was so fun and thought provoking and engaging. And you were like, dude, we gotta do a podcast. And my brain was like, nah, dude, I'd have to figure out how to nail it with a podcast. I can't just have.
Yeah, it took you a while. Yeah.
And you kept pushing. You're like, we gotta do a podcast. We gotta do it, dude. And eventually, we're like, okay, we're gonna do a podcast. But then came the real difficulty.
Oh my goodness.
What did we call the podcast?
That was a problem for a long time.
Yeah, we probably spent like weeks.
Oh my goodness, podcast name. Dude, we had some good ones. There's one that I still wish. Oh man.
Wait. What do you remember anything?
There was one that was like, oh, I really wish we could have done this, but someone already had the name.
Oh, we did. We had looked at the starting zone.
The starting zone.
And I think we had both kind of come up with that name together. However, there's a great podcast already existing.
Have you listened to it? Yeah. I've never listened to that podcast.
It's a very good podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've never listened to it.
I listen to a lot of WoW podcasts.
Okay.
That was actually how I originally found Rolly, by the way, who was on.
Oh, okay.
What was he on? Episode 45, I think it was.
Okay.
I had heard him guest on another podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this guy is wonderful. I'd love to.
Yeah, dude.
And this was way back when our podcast first started, right? This was like a year ago when our podcast first started. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, we could never get a guy like that onto a podcast we're doing.
Right? Oh, dude, it's so crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, and wow, I just looked a couple seconds ago because I was pretty certain this is what our first episode talked about.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to make time this week to go back and listen to the first episode again and kind of just...
Right, we've improved so much.
Yeah, kind of just see where we were, because there's a lot of episodes where we tried a lot of things and they just didn't. I don't know if it didn't work or we just decided there was too much other content to talk about and we were just done. Because we used to do those like tips of the week, and we would try to come up with like some cool like game changing tip.
Oh, I forgot.
And I was like, low key. I was like, I'm glad we stopped.
Dude, we definitely doing that from remember the Titan Forge podcast?
Oh yeah.
I think they did that, and when. I guess I was like, oh, that's a good idea. We should.
Yeah,
and I knew that podcast was coming to an end.
Yeah.
So I was like, no one else was going to do it.
Yeah, right. And then I was like, oh man, like that. Yeah, but I just looked. Our first podcast, we talked about obviously the launch of the War Within, because the War Within was about a year ago.
Yeah, it's been a pretty brief expansion.
Yeah, it honestly has. Kind of getting back into WoW, and then it was also about the Evokers getting more. Well, we coined it as Evokers getting more races, but it was about the Drekthir getting more classes, playable classes. Yeah. And it feels like that happened a year ago. It's like, oh my goodness, that doesn't even feel like it was that long ago that happened.
You know why we might have written it that way? I have
clickbait. Oh,
clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have this. Like idea, I guess you could say, that if Blizzard ever wants to add more, you are right, Evokers as race. Yeah. Sorry, I always get Evoker and Drakthir kind of meshed together.
Yeah.
Right, because my idea, and I'm still sticking to it from episode 1 to now. My thought is, if they want more races to have the Evoker class, right?
Yeah.
The trick to do that is, it's so easy. It's like actually like stupidly easy.
Okay.
All they have to do is say, hey, look, if you're a Night Elf Evoker, you're actually technically a Drakthir.
Yeah.
Right? But your visage form is a Night Elf.
I mean, that's not bad actually.
Right.
I don't think I've ever heard you. I don't think you've ever talked about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I would have remembered you saying that. Maybe you did. That was a year ago. Let's be honest. But that's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
I guess my only thing is that because
racials would be the questionable one.
Yeah, because
I would say you keep the Dracthir racials because you need some of the Dracthir racials for the evoker spec.
Yeah. You do?
Or for the evoker class. Yeah, things like the glide and stuff like that.
Oh, because glide is. I feel like they would almost just have to change glide to evoker specific because soar is evoker, isn't it, or is it Dracthir?
Yeah, that's Dracthir. That's Dracthir. Right, because that's the tricky part. Is like everybody right now is playing their evoker or their Dracthir warrior because they get to move a little faster.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But back. Sorry, we're off topic. We'll get to that in a second. But back to the podcast beginnings. Back to the podcast beginnings. You would mention like the segments we tried to do, right?
Yeah.
I think I did it for like 2 episodes and then I stopped. I used to like plan a little lore piece in there. Like, this is relevant to where the story's at right now. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And it just felt so forced. Like it felt so forced. Goodness. So then we just never talked about lore again. And then more recently, as we've been finding things out, I've been giddy.
Yeah.
And just talking about some of it. Not planned, by the way. I think people should know this. Most of the Warband conversation is not planned. A lot of this is just Chicken and I sitting down.
None of this is on our notes right now.
No,
we literally have not gotten to any notes yet.
I think we have 3 bullet points on our notes plus listener questions.
Yeah.
But the I think recently we've started doing some lore again, and it feels more organic this time because
it does.
What I love about this podcast is it's you and I. Even if no one listened to it, it's just a chance for you and I to sit and talk about the things we're excited about. It's just fun. Like we're just genuinely so fun.
That's true. Yeah, if we do lore now, though, we'll have to pan the camera just to you so I can fall asleep over here.
Yeah. Now, granted, I will say, though, the dirtiest secret of the Warband podcast. You ready, Chicken?
Sure.
I don't even know if I ever even told you this. You might not be very happy with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do a lot of graphic design for work. Okay? Yeah. I'm terrible at drawing. I'm atrocious. Anything I have to create from scratch, I'm terrible.
Sure, yeah.
I can image manipulate all day long, right?
Sure.
And I don't know why I did it at the time, and I have no regrets, by the way. If you want to fight me on this,
sure,
you can fight me. I have no regrets.
Sure.
Because I like it. It turned out cool. Dude, I used AI to make our artwork.
Oh,
the Warband logo, AI. The background, AI.
I'm not. I mean...
I know I did a lot of manipulating, especially to the logo, to get it exactly how I wanted it.
Sure.
I did editing afterwards, but yeah. So that's part of our lore. The dirty,
dude. That's
skeletons in the closet right there.
That's not that big of a deal, to be honest. Like, as my friend as my coworker would say, whenever he uses AI to like write code and stuff, he's always like, "No, I just had a little helper. I had my little friend help me," and I'm like, "What?"
Yo, you
just had our little friend help us make the.
Dude, I mean, you know where I've used it, and this isn't the AI podcast, but I've used it on 2 things. One, there have been multiple times where like I'll be working on something for work and I can't seem to get like equipment to work correctly. Like this happened last week where I was having an issue with some microphones going through a wireless unit and they just weren't like I wasn't passing enough signal for whatever reason. And I like throw it like all the components into AI and like include a copy of like the manual for the equipment. And the AI comes back and goes, "Oh, this unit right here is blah 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 blah." And it like explains why this isn't actually going to work and why I've been like spending too much time working on the wrong thing.
Bonehead.
Right. And like, yes. Also, there have been a few times where I've used AI to help me better understand things like weak auras.
Oh, really?
Where I'm like, I want to do this in a weak aura. How do I do this specific thing?
Bro.
Yeah.
AI write weak auras? That'd be kind of lit.
I haven't gotten it to write me a good working full weak
good
aura.
Working.
Right?
Which is kind of surprising.
But it will give me steps on how to, like if it's doing steps, it works.
Yeah.
If it's writing me a custom code for weak aura,
it
doesn't usually work now.
That kind of sucks. That's a little surprising, to be honest. Just a tiny little, because AI is pretty good at coding.
But I like the steps more because the steps for me help me learn.
Yeah, they help you teach. Yeah,
right. And I prefer learning over just passing it off and then
that's true.
Right, having someone else do it. But anyways, all that to say, the Warband launched a year ago, and we've been figuring out along the way we've been having such a good time. Like, it's genuinely just been such a good time working on this podcast. It's been
pretty good. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys as the listener, you've definitely supported us. I think the podcast has grown a lot more than we expected it to grow. And I mean, that's all up to you guys, right? But yeah, I mean, I think when we got into it, I was like, if we get like 100 listens a week, I feel like that's pretty good. And now we're literally like, to open up the curtains, we're about 10x that. So which is to us, I mean, a really good spot, right? So it's like, now how to, once we hit another plateau, it's like, how do we, open up that and grow from there, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily know if we've plateaued just yet with the podcast. It will come, obviously.
Yeah, but we're still growing.
But yeah, I mean,
and I remember when we started, because like you asked for like, Swag, let's do a podcast. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know how we're gonna build it. I don't know if there's actually enough interest out there. There's already a bunch of WoW podcasts. And you're like, who cares? Let's just do it for fun. Yeah. And I'd like trust you on that. I'd be like, okay, we'll just do it for fun. But it's doing well. I've been excited. And I think the last thing we'll say about the podcast itself specifically, as we kind of get into WoW and switch into WoW, I think the thing that has me the most excited, the thing I want to actually thank everybody for, is the community that's been forming. This podcast, right? Mm-hmm. The people that hang out with us on Discord, chat with us, like come hang out with me on stream even, right? Man. All of that is so fun to just have those conversations, engage in that time. So thank you, everybody. Like you all have created an amazing community. I don't always get to comments online super often, right? So like if you're commenting on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, I will admit I don't always see them. I try to check them out sometimes. Spotify's easier for me because I use Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify is.
And so I'll check Spotify sometimes. But for the most part, though, like I just love the community that we've been forming, and it's been awesome. It's been awesome getting to meet some awesome people.
Pretty lucky.
You probably recognize some of the same names coming up a lot for the listener questions and stuff. And so just amazing people out there. And so thank you so much. However, I do think it's time. Maybe we shift some gears and go look at some World of Warcraft content.
Oh, man. Imagine.
Oh, wait, do you like my little Thrall pop?
Oh, yeah.
He just came in the mail yesterday, so I figured I'd...
Oh, yeah, actually did?
Yeah. That's why he was still in the box when I got here.
No, I didn't know if you were one of those people that just keep them in the box.
No, not usually.
And then, you got your nice statue.
Yeah, this came with the War Within Collector's Edition.
Okay.
And so I don't know what's going to come with the Midnight one. I'm kind of hyped to find out, though. But I don't know. They haven't announced it yet. So I'm waiting.
I feel like it has to be something with, like, player housing. I feel like it almost has to be. I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like player housing is going to be such a big role in Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see... Well, I don't know. I could be wrong. Typically, they try to stick with, like, storyline stuff, so it probably might be something with the storyline, even though this is... No, I'm not sure.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be like a little Sunwell.
Oh, that's true.
Right, we could get a Sunwell. Actually, that might be kind of like... We could get a Xalatath statue. Although I don't think the statues are super common, by the way.
Yeah.
I think they did a statue for the 10 or 15th year anniversary. And this was for the 20th year anniversary.
Gotcha. So this was around the 20th. Yeah, gotcha.
So I suspect the statues aren't always their go-to option. I wouldn't mind, though, Blizzard. If you want to put another statue in the Midnight Collector's Edition, I wouldn't turn it down.
What'd they do for Dragonflight?
I don't know. I didn't get Dragonflight.
Oh, you didn't get Dragonflight?
Not in Collector's Edition.
Oh, okay.
No, I wish. I don't know why I didn't. I was a fool. I was a fool. You know what it probably was?
I was a fool.
I think what happened was I bought the Epic Edition or whatever as soon as it was announced.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was just like, well, I got the Epic Edition.
Yeah, no need to.
Yeah. And so, but this time I was smart.
That's pretty fair.
This time I have not pre-ordered. So everybody's flying around on their new cool mounts and using their new cool transmods.
Not me.
Not this guy. No. I'm waiting.
I don't blame you. No, it's I don't know. I'm one of those guys that like, well, you're married now, so technically it is a little different. But I'm like, do I need more
random stuff
laying around my house?
I don't even think Shayna wants me to have more random stuff.
Yeah, she's like, no more random more random WoW stuff.
I've had to like relocate it all to my desk. And so now my desk is getting cluttered. Look, I have a big desk, but now it's getting cluttered.
You do have a big desk.
So we'll see.
That's
but
pretty good.
Speaking of which, though, right? Like midnight is kind of on its way. We have been seeing some changes occur though with midnight, right?
We have.
I think some stuff announced this week. I know they're changing crafting. Are you familiar with the crafting changes?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. So it looks like it doesn't look like they're definitely removing the rank 1 and the rank 2 nodes for crafting, which means there's only going to be 3 ranks now. They worded it kind of weirdly as saying that they're removing rank 1 and rank 2. So that kind of makes it seem like there's going to be rank 3, 4, and 5 now. But I think they're just going to shift it down, and now that is just rank 1, 2, and 3. I think they did that purposely because they didn't want us to think that, like, the leveling is going to be adjusted. Like, they didn't want us to think that, like, rank 3, 4, and 5, the eye levels of them are going to be the same versus if they would have said, like, hey, we're getting rid of rank 4 and 5, then maybe people would have think, oh, well, crafting gear is only going to be to the eye level of the rank 3 piece now, and that might not be near as good as getting like a mythic, getting crafted gear is not going to be anywhere as good as getting like a myth track item upgraded the whole way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. And I think it's good that they took the bottom ends out, not the top ends. Yeah. Because there's also sometimes it's just the vibe of something. Yeah. Right? Vibe is an important, almost unmeasurable type of thing sometimes. And so if they were to take out the top 2, which logically, like if you were to be like, oh, logically, just take out the top 2, right? Yeah. Especially because I don't think those top 2 were originally a part of crafting. I think they came in very shortly after. I don't remember though, but I think they came in very shortly after. I could be wrong on that though. This is back in Dragonflight. My memory's hazy. But if they took out the top 2, players are going to be like, oh, do I really just want a normal 3-star? I want a 5-star, right? Yeah. And then it kind of just feels lame, right? Now, they are going to have to come up with like names, but it is better to say, oh, I can still get the nice high one that I used to get, right? Versus being like, oh, that the good one's no longer an option. Yeah. Even if it technically is just as powerful as the old high one would have been, it does make sense. It does make sense that they keep that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, to be honest. I kind of like it, though, because I always thought it was weird that crafting was a rank 1 through 5 system, but all the elements and all, like, the crafting material was only ever 1 through 3. Yeah. Like, that to me, that was, like, it was like, that makes no sense. Like, why do we have a different ranking system for crafting versus the crafting materials? I was like, this just doesn't make sense. No. So I guess, we'll find out more to come, but
it also feels kind of like wasteful to me sometimes.
It does. Yeah.
I don't do professions. It's just not my thing. I'm not super into it. Yeah. But when I think about crafting and all the different ranks of things, who the heck is buying the low ranks of stuff? Right? Like, is there any value to that existing? I don't think I've ever, if I bought something and didn't get a 5-star.
Marketing is weird because there was, for a hot 3 weeks, I was involved in marketing for WoW. And I don't think I ever talked about this on the podcast. Where there's a site, and I can't think of what it's called, but it's basically a stock market for WoW, and it'll show you trends of what prices of things are, and trends of supply and demand versus different things in the auction house, right? And I've always, and I get now why after I watched that video, after I did it for a while, I understood why supply and demand and why things were. But I was always like, why is the rank 1 material always so much more expensive than the rank 2 material? I was like, what is going on? And it's just supply and demand. There's just not as much of the rank 1 material in the game. So you can demand more for it. But I'm like, who's buying rank 1 materials? People who probably need to level up
their professions, right?
Yeah, or that. Yeah, people that need to level up their professions. But I'm like, why would you ever buy a rank 1? Why would you ever buy a rank 1? Oh my goodness, the flask, the alchemist flask, right?
Rank 2 is
when rank 2 is better and it's cheaper. Come on, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and what? Yeah, I mean the thing to me is I at least understand it in consumable items, right?
Yeah.
The flasks, I get it, right?
Yeah.
The ranking system on flasks to me is really cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, look, I have the different options that exist, whatever. But it's not, I don't think it's like cool enough to justify its existence.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine though. I'm not saying get rid of it. It's fine. Where it does feel weird though is like permanent things, like armor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you go to dude, by the way, like I'm gonna say something.
No.
I'm gonna say something. And I apologize. I apologize for this. But I'm gonna say it. It doesn't make sense to me that you can craft gear lower than rank 5. And because that system exists, I usually don't go to my guild mates to craft things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I feel, and this sounds weird, maybe this is weird. I've had a few too many times where we'll go to a guild mate to craft something, and it didn't craft me a rank 5. And I feel safer now going into trade chat, literally just typing LF and then tag the item at rank 5, and then sending it to the first person who whispers me.
Yeah.
Like, and you know it's just like a quick automated whisper message. You know, there's nothing personal about it. But at this point, it's faster. And I have never once in my entire time doing that gotten, because you can require it to be a rank 5 when you send that person order. Now, technically, you could be like, oh, but Swag, you can require it to be a rank 5 from sending it to a guildie too.
Yeah.
Sure. But the way the system's currently set up, it doesn't actually incentivize you to use your friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Not necessarily.
The only incentive to go to your friends for this is because you want to be nice to them.
And give them the gold versus like some random person, right?
So the only incentive is kindness.
Yeah,
right?
That's fair.
Which is fair, by the way. In most things, I would be the guy who's like, oh, here you go. But when I finally got, and maybe I'm too impatient, right?
Oh, impatience, the other thing, yeah, right?
Yeah, maybe I'm too impatient, but when I finally have the crests,
yeah,
and everything I need to like craft that thing, when I'm like, yo, I want
it now.
I want my like 720 shoulders right now, whatever it is I'm crafting. I think wrists are my best for this season.
Yeah,
maybe wrist and shield.
Sure.
Right. I want this. I want it right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there. And our guild, by the way, is on the much more active side compared to most guilds. Our guild is popping.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's amazing. We have a lot of people from the podcast hang out in there, but also a lot of people who aren't from podcasts because it's not a podcast guild.
It's not a podcast.
The guild we just like being a part of.
Yep.
And but man, even with such an active guild, right? What ends up happening is I go, hey, can anybody craft this? And someone in the guild goes, oh, let me go check and see. And then they go log on to their character that does crafting that way.
Yeah.
And then they go, hey, here's my crafting book. Like, is what you're looking for in there? And I go and I look, and it's not there. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not going to work. Or they can't quite guarantee that one will be a rank 5.
Yeah,
Right? And it's just like, or I have to go into the Discord and ask. Or usually what ends up happening, what most people do is they'll go like, hey, I put an order in for the guild. As soon as somebody can get to it, please do, right? Mm-hmm. Which is fine, but then you can't really, I don't think you can require a rank 5 if you do that. I think when you put it out more publicly like that to the guild, it has to be whatever rank they can do. I think only personal requests can be.
I think guild orders can be.
Okay, can they?
5.
Somebody listening I'll probably get 7 comments on Spotify.
I'm pretty sure it is because, and I'm the same way as you where I'm like, if I want this now.
Yeah.
And like I've done trade chat too. But I've just, basically what I do is I'm just like, okay, I know I'm going to want it. So what I'm going to do is like, when I'm done for the day playing, I'm just going to put it in guild orders and then put it in Discord. And then hopefully within like 24 hours, someone can get it at the high rank and then it's fine. But like, I do understand where it's like, hey, I want this. Like I have it and I want it, where I'm just like, yeah, I might have to wait like an extra dungeon for it. But like, it's not the big of a,
it's whatever. It's whatever.
So,
but that's my thing. And I will say, I feel bad doing it that way.
Yeah.
But then it just means that, like, hey, literally within maybe even 3 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. I can go buy all the materials.
Oh, yeah.
I can get everything I need. I can ask and by the way, they get to it so fast.
Yeah, they
get to it so fast. I get that instant whisper, like, I can craft it. I send it to them. 30 seconds later, it's back to me, right? And I do, like, I don't know. To me, I'm like, okay, I wish there was an incentive that incentivize you to help your friends? Like maybe, again, I don't know, but what if maybe somehow it was less materials needed for a guild craft? Maybe it was, and not a lot less, maybe just a little bit less or something, right? Some small incentive, and I don't know what that would be to not, I don't know. But then the people who like love crafting, all they want to do is craft, are like, but I just want to craft. Why are you taking that away from me, right?
That's true.
I just want to work, trade, chat, and craft. So,
boom.
I don't know. I don't know. But that doesn't change.
I think I have the incentive.
Yeah.
They should, whatever you're willing to tip the person, they should double that and put it in the guild bank. Boom. I feel like that is like not that cappy enough to work. And no, that's never gonna work. Never mind. That's never gonna work. Because then
you'd abuse it.
Because then you'll have people putting like $100,000 tip, and then like that $100,000 would go, or 100,000 gold, and then that would go in the guild bank and in that person's pocket, and then they would just maybe do it back and forth and back and forth.
Dude,
that would get exploited. Yeah, Dang it!
Launch your own guild.
Send
yourself the crafting orders.
Oh
Reap
man!
the guild money.
Maybe they just need to have a cap of like so much per week, like 10,000 per week or something. I don't know. Like
something. I think they could do something with it.
That's kind of cappy, but
that one gets a little bit on the risky side for sure. But who knows? Maybe they could find a way. Because as soon as you said, "Oh, gold," I was like, "Yeah, gold incentive." But then it's like, how do you have a gold incentive that can't be abused by people?
They can't be abused.
Crafting off.
You just have to put a cap or something, right? Like only like 10,000 per week, or 10,000 can go in the guild bank per week, per guild or something. I don't know, like something dumb like that.
And you can't send it to yourself to craft.
Yeah.
They could find a way though. I mean, I wish there could be, but again, I don't have like the perfect answer. Yeah. We did get some news, by the way, on a little bit of lore details regarding, and I think you'll actually find these interesting. Okay. We're not doing a deep dive, so don't worry. I'm not giving you tons of backstory. Just a few things with Midnight, because when I watched the cinematic trailer, I had a lot of questions coming out of the cinematic trailer, specifically regarding the people who came out of the Sunwell, right? Like, who the heck was that? They seemed so generic. It seemed so random. What was going on there? So we do actually have some details. There is an interview that was done. I actually haven't watched the interview, but I want to read a couple highlights that I'm seeing on X, right? So one of which is Midnight, the whole like idea of uniting the elven tribes is a big story, right? And so only part of that is in Midnight, not all of it. But the expansion begins with our player being summoned through the Sunwell. So we're actually starting the expansion where the cinematic ended.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So, but that to me raises questions, because I'm a shaman. Well, normally I'm a death knight, but right now I'm playing my shaman this season, right?
Yeah.
Why would I be summoned through the Sunwell? I don't know why. I'm curious to see why, right? So it's not just the Army of Light, it's not just the player characters, but they did say, this is a quote here, at least one in particular, so this will be a person, right? At least one in particular, which is pretty baffled to be there and doesn't know quite what happened, but is still there. So we're told that there's going to be a character who shows up. They're not really sure why they're there. They don't know what's been going on, but they're there. Now, it could be like a Heronir, right? Because we know at some point we're going to go to the Heronir lands.
Yeah,
so it's possible that one Heronir who was with us in Undermine is going to be with us there. Yeah. They've also referenced that Sylvanas is probably coming back this expansion at some point. They at least said we're going to see her soon.
Yeah.
I had my theory before they said that publicly. I had my theory that having Sylvanas take part in the defense of Silver Moon is a nice, like, full circle kind of storytelling for her, where she fell originally and where her life started to unravel originally. Is able to be where she kind of starts anew, right? Because at this point, the story for Sylvanas has kind of ended. She's paying for what she did in BFA and during Shadowlands. However, what's next, right? Originally, Sylvanas' story started with the fall of Silver Moon.
Yeah.
What if now her new story is starting with the defense of Silver Moon?
Yeah. That'd be
anyways,
neat.
The Heronir themselves, their story, in Harandar, which is a place we're going to, will show a little bit of the bad side of the light, right? So the light isn't always the good guys, not all the time, right? Orwena, I guess that's the name of the Heronir that we were with in Undermine. She'll take us to Harandar, but maybe people won't be so happy to see her come back. And so some other stuff going on. The Void Storm will be a big Void Elf story. We don't know how we're going to get there. You can't just go there, so we're going to figure that out. But it is a part of the story of us getting to that place. And this is a big one, I think, or we have two big ones. One, Quel'Thalas is only the first rework that we're getting. So if you're excited that Quel'Thalas is being reworked and redeveloped to be fresh and ready for 2025, or I guess in this case probably 2026, it's not going to be the only zone. We're going to see more zones in the future get refreshed and revived, and I am so for that.
Nice.
I am so for that. Yeah. The second thing is about Silver Moon itself, right? So there's been a lot of controversy that you're seeing on X, the Everything app right now, about Silver Moon City being, and I guess I honestly think some of it's just confusion from people. Basically, what Blizzard has said is half to 2/3 of the city will be allowing Alliance players into, and Alliance players have free roam of that space. Yeah. And 1/3 up to a half of the city. I don't know how much I believe in there. There's a reason I can explain why I'm iffy on numbers.
Sure.
Will be Horde only, right? So we're talking about Alliance allowed and Horde only, not Alliance only and Horde only. Because I think some people thought Alliance were just getting a part of the city. Yeah. They're not. They're just being allowed into a part of the city.
Makes sense.
I don't know if you've never played the Blood Elf starting zone. You've probably never even been to Silver Moon City before. And people are like, how's Chicken never been to Silver Moon City? Because he started in Shadowlands, and there's no reason at all for him to ever walk into Silver Moon City. Gorgeous city. Amazing city. I'll show you sometime. But dead. If you go in there, right now you'll probably see people, because people are probably role-playing in there, getting ready for the new expansion. But if you went in there like 2 months ago, before all the midnight announcements, you wouldn't find a single soul. Nobody hangs out there because it's too inconvenient to get to, and you can't fly. By the way, no flying. And but Silver Moon split into two spaces. So on the right side of Silver Moon, you have the city that's still standing, right? That still exists, and then right through the middle, you have this big gaping cut through the middle of the city where we talked about, I think, on the last episode or so, where Arthas's army marched through the city to get to the Sunwell. And then on the left side, that was just all destroyed. And so they're saying that left side has been rebuilt, and that will be where Alliance are allowed in. And then what we've traditionally known as Silver Moon, right, what has previously existed as Silver Moon, will be redesigned with obviously looking fresh and new, but that will be Horde only. Oh, okay. Now, there's some questions on if maybe like Murder Row or some of those areas will allow Alliance players in, because we know there's a dungeon located there. But also, just because a dungeon's located in part of the city doesn't mean that Alliance players can just walk through it when they're not in the dungeon, right? Because we've seen open world dungeon, and this is where I think people are getting confused. They're like, well, the dungeon's there, so they have to be there. No, the dungeon entrance could be in the neutral space, right? Yeah. And just doing the dungeon puts you into the Horde space for the dungeon only, right? Yeah. So I think that's important to keep in mind. So I'm very interested to see. However, what is really important too, and I like this. I actually think this is awesome. There was a lot of tension online about how, like, oh, why would we do this? Why are we allowing them in? This sucks. This is our city. And the developers have come out and said, hey, look, we want you to know the Alliance are being allowed in to help with what's going on at the Sunwell and what's happening in Quel'Thalas, but the Horde don't like it. They are not happy with that. They're actually like very upset about it, and there's a lot of tension that's occurring because of it, and that tension will roll over into the future. So good. I like this because I love Warcraft when there's tension between the Horde and Alliance, and I love Warcraft when there's tension that feels correct between the Horde and Alliance.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, for example, when Garrosh is going into the north of Orgrimmar, right? The north above Orgrimmar, and trying to take trees from the Night Elves. Okay. And that's considered like sacred land to the Night Elves, and they don't want him to take those trees. And so they're kind of fighting amongst each other there. I like that tension because the Night Elves want to protect the trees. and the orcs need the trees for lumber to build homes, right, and protect themselves. I like that story. That's good story, right? Sylvanas being tricked by the jailer and just burning Teldrassil down for the sake of it and bombing her own city. That feels forced. That feels like bad writing. I don't like that writing, right?
Yeah.
So I like the idea that the Horde are now allowing some alliance in because they have to, out of absolute necessity, to protect Quel'Thalas. But also being like, we don't like you being here. This ain't great, right?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah,
good.
I actually suspect that the Horde sections, based on what we've been told, that if you walk into the Horde sections as an alliance player, that you will actually be like, they say kill on sight is their words. I suspect it might put you into like the old school war mode where like you walk in and you can be attacked, but you can't attack back.
Yeah.
Or the guards would just kind of run over and smack you down, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm excited. I think that's kind of cool. I think that's a cool touch.
That's kind of neat.
So I like Duel story elements there, but I wanted to update you on that and how the city is going to feel. So for the first time ever, we're getting this neutral hub city that actually isn't very neutral, right? So it's a neutral hub, but actually as Alliance players, we're not really wanted there.
Yeah, no,
and I like that.
They don't want us.
Again, I'm sure Blizzard will design a way where I can still sit there all day long and run in circles while I wait for my dungeon queue to pop up. But from a world building standpoint, I like how that feels.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that seems pretty accurate. Maybe we'll see like a more defined like almost, I don't want to say like split between the Horde and Alliance again when the last Titan comes. And maybe they're trying to like build that way when they kind of reform after the last Titan, that this tension between the two exists. Because, I mean, we talk about it a lot. I mean, when I started in Shadowlands and then even into Dragonflight and now into the last Titan.
There's been no war.
There's no really tension between the two.
And by the way, so Shadowlands was one story.
Yeah.
Dragonflight was one story. Yeah. The War Within's been one story. But historically, a lot of times expansions would actually give you different stories for Horde and Alliance. So Horde would go and oftentimes in the same zone. So BFA was radical, having two entire different continents, islands. But traditionally, it'd be like, oh, hey, we're both in this zone. Like, Borean Tundra in Wrath. But we have the Horde settlement here, and we have the Alliance settlement here, and their own quest hubs, right? And you could catch each other out in the wild.
Yeah, right.
I think the most iconic one for me is in Outland. If you ever go to a Hellfire Peninsula in Outland, you literally have the I can't remember what the big walkway is called, but there's this big path made up of Draenei skeletons.
Okay.
If you ever walk this path and look down at the ground and see a bunch of bones, it's Draenei skeletons, right?
Oh, interesting.
So a bunch of Draenei skeletons pave this huge path, from Hellfire Citadel all the way to the Dark Portal. And on one side of that path, you have a Alliance fortress kind of set up, and on the other side, you have like a Horde fortress set up. Sure. And they literally have their weapons pointed at each other, like,
interesting.
Yo, don't do nothing, right?
Yeah.
And that I like that. That's a good feel to me. So I'm hoping, and they did say in Midnight we are going to see some separate quest hubs for Alliance and Horde.
That's cool.
So that has me excited. I think what's hard though is it means they can't just tell one straight through story. But I like it. I like it when you kind of get two parts of the story going on in different places.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard now, especially with the guild split too, and being able to queue with members of the other faction. Because it's like, oh, like my friend is Horde, but I'm supposed to hate them.
I think
them, right?
A couple things. I think sometimes you can separate yourself from the story, right? So I think it's fair to say, hey, look, for gameplay purposes, I want to be able to play with my friends.
Yeah.
But for world building and story, I actually absolutely hate the Horde and despise them.
That's fair.
You could also, though, if you want to create like a logical in-game reason, you could literally just be like, hey, look, guilds are actually like neutral entities of
that's true.
Heroes and champions that band together, right? True. And sometimes they're individually called upon by their faction leaders to serve, right? But the guild itself that they are a part of is like a neutral entity.
Yeah, no, that's pretty fair. That's a good way of putting it, actually.
You could 100, right? Like that'd be such an easy way to define it, which I think will be really cool.
Hey, moving on to the next thing here, I think. I don't know if you saw this before right now or, before we put it on our show notes. but I think it might make you pretty happy. Well, actually, I don't think when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is cool. But then I was like, oh, but then this. Anyways, they're bringing Comp Stomp to become a permanent game mode, and I know you're a big Comp Stomp guy when it comes out, but what's your thoughts? I mean, well, I'll give my thoughts real quick, and then we can kind of go to you. But I think it's weird to make a game mode like Comp Stomp. I'm gonna go 3 steps back actually, and I'm gonna compare Comp Stomp to like Time Walking, right? Yeah. If Time Walking was available every single week of the year, every you could do Time Walking all the time. I feel like that would kind of take some of the joy away of doing Time Walking for the people that like it, right? Like myself, I like Time Walking. I don't mind doing Time Walking when it comes out. It's a great thing for leveling. But if it was there every week, I don't think I would probably ever do Time Walking, right? And it kind of goes, hand in hand with Comp Stomp. Like I think now that it's an everyday game mode, is it going to be as enjoyed as it was when it was a limited game mode? It's kind of, totally that kind of would go in line with other things like, remix editions. Plunderstorm, yeah, is a big one. If
Which, by the way, they said right now there are no plans for Plunderstorm 3.
Really?
Yeah, which is dumb because I love Plunderstorm. Man, dude, I could go. I need a little more time because I'm enjoying the current season. But give me another month, maybe 2 months, and I can slam some Plunderstorm.
Plunderstorm 3? Dang. I didn't even realize Plunderstorm 2 was technically Plunderstorm 2. I thought
no, it's all just Plunderstorm. I just use Plunderstorm 3 as a way to say
like a third round of Plunderstorm. Oh man, dude, that sucks. I really enjoyed Plunderstorm.
I did too.
Well, that'll change at some point. Hey, remember they said that there was no plans to bring in a third Demon Hunter spec. They literally said that like 2 weeks before midnight.
They did.
And then there was like, hey, just kidding.
Yeah, but everybody knew, by the way.
Oh, yeah. My goodness.
Everybody was so aware that there was going to be a third. It wasn't even. Remember, we were memeing about it on the podcast forever ago.
Yeah,
although I think you said, you were like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah, I might have said that at the beginning, but.
Anyways. My thought was that it was going to come out before midnight, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, the thought was that it would come out when, maybe with the raid or something. When they took down raid, it was like some guy rose or something, and you could make a playable spec. But what are your thoughts on Comp Stomp being everyday game mode?
Yeah, I think initially right off the bat, I agree. Right off the bat, I agree with you in terms of I hate to say it because you want to believe a good thing is just a good thing, right? Yeah. You want to be like, oh, it's fun. Just let them do it anytime they want to do it. But sometimes something is more fun and good when it is limited, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A great example, pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fair.
We're about to hit pumpkin spice season. I'm sure Starbucks probably already has their pumpkin spice right now. And if you like it, you love it, right? You absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But man, if pumpkin spice was just available year round at Starbucks or anywhere else, probably wouldn't be that impressive. In fact, it probably wouldn't be a high demand thing.
Probably not.
But when it's this I anticipate this
back.
Dude, yeah. I'm excited for this. I love this thing. It does well. I think Taco Bell does really well at that. Or Taco Bell is always trying to test things out, try things.
Yeah.
And they're always cycling things off the menu and then back onto the menu eventually. And it constantly just brings this excitement to the menu of ooh, this is coming back. I love the nacho fries, right? Whatever it is. I want my taco pizza or Mexican pizza.
Yeah,
right. They call it.
Oh, Mexican pizza, yeah.
Right. So I do get there's a hype to that. But Comp Stomp's cool. So if they and again though, I think Comp Stomp's probably one of the cooler rotational things that they have right now. Mm-hmm. So the hope would be that they add another cool rotational thing in there.
No, that's fair.
I will say though, personal preference. I don't know if I have the best memories with Comp Stomp. I don't know if I like Comp Stomp. One time, this was shortly after I returned back to World of Warcraft. I was with our guild, hanging out. And I was just getting back into tanking. Just trying to practice tanking again, building up my tank. And some of our guild members we're like, yo, Swag, we're going to go do Comp Stomp. You want to come join us? I was like, what the heck is Comp Stomp? Like, oh, it's so easy. You literally just go fight NPCs in not Alterac Valley. What is it? What's the name of the zone?
No idea.
Starts with an A, though. But whatever. We're going to go fight. You just fight robots there and while you capture points, right? And I was like, okay, awesome. Sounds good. I can do that. I enjoy that. And so I go into the Comp Stomp. And I'm just, as a tank, so I'm just like slappy handsing everybody and just having fun, right? And then I died. I died in that Comp Stomp.
No.
I literally died. I'm probably the only person in the history of the world who's ever died in a Comp Stomp, right?
Dang.
The next week, it's raid night.
Oh, no.
I'm raiding with our guild, right?
Yeah.
And I'm goofing off in general chat. Because sometimes I'll goof off in general chat or raid because it's fun. Like, everyone else who's raiding is also in that zone, even outside your own guild. Right? It's just random people who are raiding. And somebody immediately comments and goes, yo, are you the same guy that died in the Comp Stomp the other day? I've never talked to this person before in my life.
Oh,
and right away,
goodness.
boom. Yo, are you the same dude who died in a Comp Stomp? Yes, that was me. I don't even think they said same guy. I think they were like, yo, you're the DK who died in a Comp Stomp. Right? Like,
man.
I think that was like their wording. And by the way, I got to know them. They were fun. They were funny dudes. It was enjoyable to chat with them and get to know them. But
that was funny.
But it was like,
dude.
Yeah, I died in a Comp Stomp.
What a nerd.
Right? That was one of those moments where you almost can't believe it. Where you're like, did somebody actually like remember that? Like, is that actually remember? So
that's kind of fun.
Yo, if Comp Stomp never came back, would I be fine with that? Probably. No, I'm kidding. I actually do think it's a fun. I think it's a a fun game mode, and it is good. I think Comp Stomp's great for collecting transmog.
Yeah.
It's a really good transmog collecting opportunity. So.
And it's good for just kind of getting into PvP. Like, if you want to get into PvP, it's a great way to get the tokens and stuff to get the PvP gear and stuff.
That's true.
So
maybe I should get into PvP this season.
No, you should not. Never do PvP, because later this season, we're going to have something even better. And that's a nice segue into our next topic about Legion Remix. And literally, the article on Wowhead says exactly what's on our show notes. Legion Remix to add more power and more fun, ? So the article wasn't very long. It was just like a one-liner from Blizzard basically saying, hey, we got the feedback from the community that did the PTR. We got, all this information. And it basically was, and this is what I'm assuming they're saying, right? And I think we had a question last week that kind of like was similar to what I'm about to say, and kind of similar to what a lot of people, I think, what they felt about Legion Remix. I think basically what Blizzard is saying is like, hey, sorry that you can't one-shot bosses like you could in Mist Remix and Mop Remix. So we're going to make it faster pace that you can do that in Legion. That's not what the article said, but it was basically like, hey, we're going to make it so that it's, the power scaling is more exponential and not as linear as. So I think it's going to feel a lot more like Mop Remix, where once you got to a certain point, like you only needed like one level, one level 70 that had like, cap on eye level gear, like the highest eye level gear you could get. And that's all you needed to like do like every single heroic raid in Mop, literally. And not even to do it like slowly, like you could still do it like relatively fast. Right. And to me, sure. Like if that's what the majority of the player base wants for Legion Remix, then I guess it's what it is. Right. It's just now that you add in like the Mythic Plus scenario, right? How does that kind of feel with, how does that feel exponentially versus raids? Because raids are like, okay, like you go in, you do it once and it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Now with M Plus, it's like, okay, I did it on a +4. Now can I do it on a +40, right? Can I just go in and slapstick this boss on a +40?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know what your quick thoughts on Legion Remix.
Well, I think I have a few thoughts. One of my least favorite things about Mist of Pandaria Remix, and it's part of the reason why I got turned off from it so fast.
Yeah,
was you had like the first half a day where everybody spammed those freaking frogs.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And got uber powerful right off the bat. Like you had a bunch of people who just got insanely powerful, right?
Yeah.
And we had people in our guild who just and I say people in our guild, but I don't think any of them are part of our guild anymore. Like they all like dipped like right after MOP was kind of over. Right, that was like their thing. Their thing was MOP Remix,
kind of seemed like you're right. Yeah.
It was kind of like MOP Remix was their thing.
Yeah.
But they just like spent every waking hour. Every waking hour just farming frogs. Or doing whatever, right? Whatever they could. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, dude, I got a job.
Yeah, right.
I got like friends I got to talk to. I got like,
right.
At least modern WoW doesn't heavily punish you for not being able to spend 24 hours in the game, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Right, right. Like things kind of balance. Remix doesn't. Remix just goes, yo, if you want. Which, by the way, for that person is probably super exciting.
Oh yeah.
But what turned me off though was like I remember we had our first raid night and I showed up and I put some work in, dude. I wasn't showing up like slacking. I put some work in. I remember showing up, still having put some time and work in, running dungeons, trying to get as much power increase as I could. And it was like 2 people just hard carrying all raid, right? Like 2 people doing carry. Like, I want to say like 20 times damage.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right?
100%.
And I remember being in there and just being like, why am I here?
Yeah, what is this,
like,
right?
What value am I actually adding to being here? Granted, don't get me wrong, I'm funny.
No.
So I add that. But like, what actual gameplay value do I add?
Yeah.
It was a conversation I was having last night, actually. We're raiding, right? And we're about to trim down our raid team.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, last night was actually probably my worst performance healing.
All
season, right? The rest of the season, I've been, like, usually second on the meters, sometimes first on the meters, right? Like, doing pretty good. Last night, nah, dude. The last 2 nights, actually, like... I was like 5th or 6th, right? Like I was bad, right? Which was a bummer. It was a real bummer to see. I think I figured out what I'm doing wrong. I think I got it sorted through. I want to send my logs over to Oreo and have her take a look and see. But I remember talking with the officers afterwards because that kind of has to happen, and it's one of those things where part of me is like, I'm probably safe. One, I'm probably safe because I was personally asked to heal instead of tanking. Normally I'd be tanking, so I'm doing a different role for the sake of like the guild, right? So it'd be kind of weird to be like, hey, can you play a different role so that
you can get cut from the
team?
So you
can get cut from the team, right? Right. So that would feel weird. But then also like as an officer and somebody who like back up raid leads when Lex is unavailable to raid lead, there's that part of me that's like, oh, cool, like. I get a spot. I probably get a spot on the team because I'm the raid leader, right? Yeah. We're talking with our guild master who has been just insanely busy with work, Yeah. Right. And I think she was kind of feeling that same thing where like this season it's just hard for her to keep up just because of work.
Yeah.
And being like, well, I know I'm probably guaranteed a spot because of being a guild master, which. Right, I think. By the way, let me clarify. I think our raid team would have an uproar as a whole if our guild master was not present. Right.
Yeah.
Our guild master is the most cherished person in the guild. People adore her. Right. And so, like, understandably so. But as we're talking, there's a part of this that, like, we kind of know these things probably to be true. Not guaranteed. Like, if Lex came and he's like, hey, Swag, look, dude, like, the other healers are really working hard. I want to honor the work that they're putting in and take them with us. Yeah. Totally get it, by the way. Like, totally get it. If I don't continue on for that reason, I understand. I'll just find another way to raid for the time being, right? Like, it's whatever, right?
Yeah.
But, man, there is something crappy. And this gets back to the Pandora thing. There's something crappy when you're like, yeah, I'm brought along, but like, right?
What am I doing?
Right, like, and that's why I was like, even talking about. That's why this morning I'm sitting down looking over my logs. I'm putting into WoW Analyzer, and WoW Analyzer is not up to date on Resto Shaman, so I have to put it in and then like make assessments based upon what I'm seeing there, but know that it's not fully accurate, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like going over because I'm like, no, I want to make the cut because I'm working my butt off.
Right?
No, I want to prove my worth.
Yeah.
And even in something like goofy like MOP Remix, dude, it just felt crappy. So
it did.
But by the way, though, the idea of this infinite power scaling is awesome. So how do you do that? Like, how do you have that infinite power scaling, while at the same time, and maybe you can't, maybe you just have to accept one or the other, right? Maybe you say, no, retail is this and remix is this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what.
But how do you at least make it so everybody like feels valuable, right? I think M plus is a good way to do that.
It is, yeah.
Right.
Honestly, yeah.
More than rating, because M plus will scale. So the people who want to push higher, everybody's the thing I always say about M plus is everybody has a spot in M plus.
They do, yeah. That's fair. Yeah,
right.
That's a good
Everybody
way
has a spot in M plus, and you might be like, I don't know, I can't keep up. I'm only running 6s. What do you mean you can't keep up? You're only running 6s. Clearly, you're keeping up in 5s. You're keeping up in 4s.
That's true.
And you're pushing 6s right now, right?
Yeah.
That's your
just
spot.
Just takes time, yeah.
Just because your guild mates are pushing 10s and 12s doesn't mean you're supposed to be pushing 10s and 12s.
Yeah, that's true.
What you're supposed to be doing is enjoying the game and finding the content that challenges you and helps you grow as a player. If you want to grow. If you don't want to grow, that's totally fine too.
Well, that's true.
So maybe M Plus will fix that problem. I just remember Mop Remix being like...
This just feels bad.
I will also say, though, Mop Remix, I think, allowed a collection of a lot of cool transmog.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it did.
But dude, the Legion remix transmog, whole different level.
Hopefully.
Oh my god.
Hopefully.
There's this one completely new transmog set that they built for it. I would put the picture in the video, but I'm probably not gonna spend enough time editing the video to do that. But there's a Legion remix transmog that looks sick, honest. And it has one of the coolest. It has actually probably the coolest cape I've ever seen in the game. Where it's like a cape that then just kind of like converts into like energy instead.
Oh, that's kind of
right, and like flows out. It's really, really cool. Rarely do I get excited about a cape. I got excited about this one, and comes like multiple color options.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
So the remix is actually like looking like kind of a vibe.
Yeah, remix. Yeah. So. Yeah,
oh wait, before we move on, did you hear about the leveling thing in remix that was going on? People are doing like remix beta or whatever.
Yeah.
And complain that the leveling was like super, super slow. So it sounds like they're speeding that. Well, back up.
Yeah, maybe this is kind of like the more power and more fun kind of deal.
Yeah, leveling felt really slow. People were like, this doesn't feel like Legion Remix. It feels like Legion Classic. And so I do like. I think it's hard because I think Blizzard wants us to play through those stories, right? I think they want us to go back through the content.
Yeah, but we don't want to.
But it also probably makes it last longer, right?
Yeah.
If you're going like, oh, it takes you 4 hours to get from level 1 to
80,
120 or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we're talking about Legion, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it would be 1 to 80.
Yeah, it would be 1 to 80.
Yeah, because they're still going off retail stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You have all your retail stuff. So 1 to 80.
If it took 4 hours, that would be...
Yeah, right. Because Pandaria was super fast.
Yeah, Pandaria was quick.
Legion's feeling a little bit slower.
Especially on, like, secondary characters. Like, your second... Like, I think, like, my third character, I had it leveled to 70 in, like, an hour. Yeah. If that.
Yeah, people are using... Mop, and I think that's part of it too. I think people are just using Mop to power level characters.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if that's really what Blizzard truly wanted Mop to be, was a power leveling system, because we have leveling events that already exist.
Yeah.
And so I think they want to slow it down, and I think slowing it down a little bit also encourages you to do the actual content that exists and not just use it. No. Again, you could be like, oh, but that's what I like doing. No, you don't like playing remix. You like power leveling characters. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Those are two different things. It just happened to be that Mop was really good for power leveling. No, I don't think it was intended to be like, that was like power leveling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. One last thing before we get into some viewer questions. And this was on our sheet for last week. We just never got to it. And honestly, I feel like we could have talked about this at any point. But since it's kind of new to this season, I felt like it was right to talk about now. They've been talking about this Mythic Leavers system for a long time. You know, should people get punished for leaving Mythic Plus keys before like a certain amount of time and something like this? And, you know, and then now we have this abandoned system, right? And it's new to me. And you know, I don't want to spend too much time on this because we do have, you know, a fair amount of questions, and you know, I want to, you know, kind of get through as many as we can today. But, you know, I want your quick thoughts on, you know, getting punished for leaving and the abandoned system. And I'll give my quick thoughts on the abandoned system. Yeah. You know, I like the abandoned system and I don't like it. I think it does the job well of what it's supposed to do, and I think it does the job poorly of what it's supposed to do as well. And what I mean by that is, I think it's great to keep people in keys, right? But I think it's also bad to keep people in keys. And what I mean by that is, when you have a key that just obviously is not going well, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, you're in halls of atonement, and you haven't even gotten to the first boss yet, and there's 20 deaths, and like there's like 5 minutes left on the timer, and you're just like this just isn't it. Like, either we're just not here, and things just this just isn't it, right?
Yeah.
I think there's now a motive where you almost feel bad being like, hey, this is your key, but this just isn't going well. But I feel bad being the one saying, hey, we should abandon this key, right? Versus just leaving, because now if I just leave, now I get penalized for it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it does keep things in balance where, like, hey, if you're on the verge of timing this key, I think some people will be like, well, if we're not going to time it, I'm going to leave, right? Like that, an instance, a while ago where someone was like, well, I can't have an untimed key on my Raider IO. And you're just like, what? Like, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's checking that.
No. Yeah. Like, calm down. But now it's like, okay, well, if there is like, you're like right on the border and like, hey, you get to the last boss and you run out of time, but you want to finish it. I think this kind of holds people true to that. But does it hold people more true to a key that just is not worth the player's time?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's a good question. So far, my experiences with it have always been good.
Okay.
So far, my experiences with it are good. What I have found is, and this is what I hated before. What I hated before was the dude that like didn't want to risk his Raider IO appearance, which didn't even matter to you. You're running 10s, like shut up, right? Right? Like nobody cares. But
no one cares.
But also though, right? Like what I hated was you go into a dungeon, everything's going good, you have that one bad pull, and then you have somebody who like just dips, right? It's like, yo, wait, dude, everything's been fine. We're probably still gonna time this. We just pulled too much one time.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull a little smaller. We'll be fine. We'll time this dungeon. And I hated that, like, that dude would dip, and now all of a sudden your group's done, right? I've had to use the abandon option a couple times now, I think, maybe 2-3 times in dungeons. And the nice thing about that is, like, every time we've done it, I think twice I initiated it, one time someone else initiated it. Every time we've done it, it just went through right away. We're just like, okay, we're not. Everybody went, yeah. But I could totally see a dungeon where it's like, oh, hey, we abandoned, somebody /abandoned, but actually, like, everybody wanted to keep going, so we just finished it out, right? It was easier to just finish it out. There will, for sure, I haven't encountered them yet, but there will for sure be times where somebody wants to abandon and no one else does. And so that person throws a fit and rolls around on the floor and cries like a child.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll just drag the whole team down intentionally to make it miserable so everybody will abandon. The worst thing that happens in that case is people go, we don't want to deal with this. Let's just leave. Right?
Yeah.
Now we'll do these /abandon. Right?
Yeah.
That's fine. It's not what we want.
Yeah.
Right? But I think the problem is people are going, see, now this is going to happen. This is going to be a problem. The problem is, let's say 10 out of 100 dungeons, not even, let's say 10 out of 50 dungeons, somebody was like just /leaving as soon as the dungeon went remotely south, right? They were just like out the moment things were looking bad. Or the moment it was clear you weren't going to perfectly time the key, that guy dipped, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, happens sometimes. There's plenty of times, especially when you're running like 10s and you really just want your vault slots. And you're like, crap, this dungeon's not going to time. But guess what? I actually want the vault slot more than I want to come back in here and try again in this specific dungeon. So can we just finish it? Like, we'll be 2 minutes over, but can we just finish it? 2 minutes isn't a whole lot to ask, right? And somebody just dips. I think what you're going to see now is it drop from like 10 out of 50 to maybe like 5 out of 50 or something times that somebody throws the fit and forces the group to all quit on the dungeon. But I think you are increasing the chance of at least finishing the dungeon with the system. So I think overall the system's good.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah,
I think there's negatives, but I think the negatives are smaller than the prior negatives.
Yeah, I do.
I will say though, I did see something funny yesterday while queuing for dungeons, and I saw like a plus 15 listed,
Okay.
and it just said deserters only on it.
Oh my.
It's like plus 15 deserters only, right? And I'm guessing the concept that the person has is like, I don't want people who are willing to waste time in keys. I just want the best of the best. But I don't know if that's actually a good like connection to grow.
Yeah.
And by the way, there are gonna be times where you're like, yo, I had 35 minutes to run this dungeon. We are already over time, and we're only on boss. We just got boss 2 done, and I actually have to leave right now to head to work, right? I cannot stay any longer. I have to leave right now. We would have been fine, but this group's way over, and I for sure 100% do not have the time to finish this dungeon before I have to leave for work. I did, but we're so far over. I think, and again, I don't even know how leaving works once you're over time. By the way, I don't know if they have any type of fail-safe in place. So let's assume they don't. Let's assume they don't. And leaving that far over time, 10 minutes over time, still penalizes you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that was the case, that's going to be such a rare thing to occur.
Yeah.
That you're not getting the mark.
No, you're not.
No, you're not getting the mark.
No.
Yeah. All right, you ready for some listener questions?
I am, and I put some on the screen right in front of us, but I guarantee we're not going to be able to read those.
Actually, I can, but I've been trying to get better at reading our Patreon questions first.
Oh, okay.
Because ironically enough, I feel like I actually get to our Patreon questions are the ones I miss every week for some reason.
Yeah.
So we actually created a whole new channel. So if you're a Patreon supporter, you can go into the Patreon questions channel now in Discord and ask. We do prioritize those ones first. But if you're not a Patreon supporter, you can still toss your questions into the Pod Questions channel on the Discord as well. Link down below in the description.
Or become a Patreon supporter.
Or become a Patreon subscriber, which would be awesome. However, we usually get to most of the questions.
Yeah.
So we might not be able to get to them all today. We're going to see how many we can get to.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a good time. So, question coming in from Rack. And he said, if an executive from Blizzard came to you guys and said, hey, we've been listening to the podcast and we get it. You both want Slappy Hands back. Tell you what, we'll give it back to you, but it'll come at a price. You must choose one of these 3 options of things to be deleted from the game forever. And in exchange, we put Slappy Hands back in. All right. So one of these 3 things has to be removed from the game.
I'm ready.
And if they do so, we'll get Slappy Hands back. Number 1, flight paths, right? So dragon riding not flight paths, flying. So dragon riding and the steady flying and flight paths will be deleted from the game. Everything must be ground mount and is capped at 60% speed.
Cannot be that one.
Okay.
Not even a little.
2, hearthstones and portals are deleted from the game. No mage portals, dungeon summoning stones, warlock summons, no portal rooms on the capitals or anywhere else. Or any other toy or class/racial ability that teleports you.
Sure.
You have to travel anywhere and everywhere manually. Sorry, I had that burp there a little
That's
bit.
okay.
Number 3, the group finder tool. Pre-made LFR, dungeon queuing, PvP queue, the whole window is deleted. So anything that you would get in there, even posting your group for M+, deleted out of there. By the way, they did say everything in the group finder tool, that whole window, technically, that window is also where you check your score for M+. So
Can't check my score.
I guess you can't check your score anymore. Yeah.
Dang.
You can and no public chats and no Discord can be used. You must literally find all your groups in /say or /tell to find people to play with.
I mean, I feel like it has to be the last one, dude. I'm not like. First of all, 1 is a terrible idea. Like, I would never be able to not fly.
Yeah.
2 is like, it's kind of crappy, but, what can you do?
Yeah.
It's got to be 3.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be 3. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, I'll just be okay not having Slappy Hands back and keeping all 3 of these. But if I had to choose, it would 100% be 3.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel like 3 might actually be low-key kind of cool because in that aspect, you could just go, like, I would assume that the new group finder would basically just be the, like, the perimeter of like the 10 feet right next to the dungeon entrance or raid entrance, right?
Or maybe even like somewhere like in Dornagal, right?
Yeah,
a spot in Dornagal,
right.
people just hang out.
Yeah, people hang out because they know that it's like, hey, you come here, like the teleport room or something. Like, hey, we hang out here if you want to do a dungeon, right? So, like, even that I feel like wouldn't even be that bad. But not being able to mount, fly, or teleport, nope, can't do that.
All right, here's my answer. The easy answer would probably be portals at this point because mount flying is so fast.
Yeah, mount flying is
mount
really
flying
fast.
is so fast.
Yeah.
So if I was talking about pure time saving, losing the portals would be the easiest because you can just mount fly so many places and then just take in-game transportation like boats or zeppelins, etc.
Yeah.
With that said, currently the only way to the Khazalgar, I think, is via portal. I don't think there's any way to Khazalgar outside of portal.
I don't know.
Maybe okay. Here's a thought. Maybe you go to Undermine. From Undermine, you take the tunneling machine to Zandalar, and then from Zandalar, take a boat to Orgrimmar, and then from Orgrimmar, you fly over to Darkshore, and then from Darkshore you take a boat to Stormwind.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot, though.
Yeah, right. That's not gonna work. Anyways, they would have to. I think in that case they'd have to have transportation.
Yeah,
for some of these places that are portal only, right? Yeah. However, that would be the purest time saving because think about how much time would be wasted trying to find groups.
Yeah,
I'd waste so much more time trying to find groups and not having portals. With that said, though, my hottest answer, my hot take on this one, I would give up flying. I give up flying. Dude. Blizzard has gone on record to say that like flying was one of those things that once they opened that can of worms, they couldn't put it back.
Yeah. Oh no. Heck no.
I think the answer would have been easier for me to say get rid of flying before dragon riding came into existence.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot harder because dragon riding is genuinely fun.
Oh my god.
I do think though there's something for the world building of WoW when you don't have flying.
Yeah.
There's something that feels really cool when the world is just huge and you don't have that.
That's true.
So, you know, if I was to say like one thing as a hot take, I'd probably say flying because it's just like I don't know, it'd be cool to go back to a WoW that like you had to walk around. With that said though, how fast would I get bored of it?
Oh, pretty
right. How fast
quickly,
would I get bored of that?
Yeah.
I do like getting places quickly now. The best answer I think is portals.
Yeah.
Actually, and I would actually say I think portals are like even worse than flying sometimes in the sense of like you're not even traveling anywhere, right? Like you're not even like having to explore the world. It's literally just like
instantaneous. Yeah.
Here's my portal. Go take the portal to wherever, right? At least with flying, if you kept flying at portals, you'd at least have to go find the connection points to each land. You have to
true.
Oh, the boats go here. You're at least saying, I'm heading to the harbor to hop on boat to go to the place. Not portal rooms. This one room can take you anywhere in the game. It's basically just a loading menu, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that would probably be my answer for that one. But I would like Slappy Hands back. In the meantime, I'm a shaman now.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe if they gave us a raid buff, I'd be more.
All right. And we did ask, by the way, on our Discord for this week, when we asked for questions, we did say not just questions about Warcraft, but also we wanted questions that were a little bit more meta about the podcast, right? Because as we're doing the video 50-second episode, we're happy to also just talk about less WoW relevant things too for this one.
Yes.
And so we have a question from Dyson Vacuum. And he said, what do you guys do for work? And what that is small. What else do you guys do for fun outside of gaming? I feel like the WoW podcast only talks about WoW. In parentheses, wow, big surprise. Want to know more about the people we listen to weekly.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, you know, to be honest, this is like one of those questions. And this is something about the podcast and why I kind of like the Patreon, because I feel like in the Patreon, you know, we do bonus content for the Patreon, which we've been a little behind on, and we're going to catch up on that. Don't worry.
We did just have a meeting to talk about that, yeah.
No, we did actually. Because we can get more into that. Like, we feel that people support us, you know, financially, that we feel that we can, you know, kind of dive deeper into our personal lives and do that kind of stuff. So again, not a huge, you know, shout out for the Patreon, but you know, if you would like to join our Patreon, we have multiple tiers. So if you feel like you can do one versus the other, it definitely helps us. But yeah, so I am an electrical engineer by trade. Right now I do electrical testing, and I enjoy my job, so it kind of makes it easy to get through life. Enjoy what you spend 40 plus hours a week doing. Outside of WoW, I'm not like, it's kind of hard. I play a lot of games. I'm a big Pokemon person. I'm really into Pokemon. I always joke that I'm like always
you've got
playing
some like
a
Pokeball thing over there that keeps buzzing every like couple minutes.
Yeah, it's for Pokemon Go. Like I'm like I always joke that I'm always playing like one Pokemon game at any given time. Right now it's Pokemon Go. And it typically is. It's been Pokemon Go a lot more recently in the past couple of years. Before that, it was typically like the base games, like maybe going back and playing like Gold and Silver, like Emerald and Ruby, and those games. But more recently, it's been mostly mobile games or like games on the Switch. But big Pokemon person. I'm big baseball guy. Phillies. I like watching baseball. Spending time with my family. Kind of that deal. So
makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense.
That is me.
Yeah, so I guess job, career stuff. I work with like live production is probably the simplest way to describe it. I do a lot of things for my job. It's a very, I'm not wearing a hat, but a very multi-hatted role. So I do all sorts of live production stuff. This studio that we're in right now is actually one that I designed and set up and built. But I also do like live music stuff as well. All sorts of things. But I love it. I work at a church, and so it keeps me very, very busy. And then, dude, for fun, WoW is like obviously the game I play the most. I love talking about WoW. When I do take breaks from WoW, we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I'll play some Fortnite sometimes. I still boot up Fortnite occasionally, which is fun. I think a good time. But outside of that, I can't say there's like any games I've been super into. The hard thing with gaming is like the moment I get into another game, I feel like I'm behind in WoW.
But
it's also the reason why I love WoW. Like WoW consistently keeps me entertained.
It does,
right? Like
it
consistently. I'll play a few rounds of Fortnite here and there though. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I love playing WoW. I'll do some Fortnite too sometimes though. And then obviously I was into Minecraft for a long time, but in Minecraft it was just the redstone, the more like, I mean, to what you said, like the electrical engineering kind of stuff in Minecraft. That's probably more exciting to me. To Chicken's credit, though, I will say this: back when I used to make a lot of Minecraft content on like TikTok and shorts and things, and I would design these big redstone contraptions. Almost every time, I would design something unique and cool that like no one had ever come up with before, and it was really awesome. And then Chicken would come look at it and be like, "Oh, you could actually make this way simpler." And he'd like rewire the whole thing and like a smaller form factor. So I'd build this like football field size thing that worked, and then Chicken would make it like the size of like
we could do this
a car, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like, okay.
It's funny.
Sounds good. So there's that. Question for the podcast from Travo. Dude, Travo's been raiding with us this season. He's an awesome dude. All right. What are your thoughts on the Amani, specifically a potential return of updated Zolaman Bear runs? So Travo did, by the way, follow up with this question.
Yes, he did.
Because he was concerned that, like, how would that work and everything. My guess, and the reason why we kept this question actually in there is because it is actually an interesting thing, right? With Zul Aman returning as like a zone, right? What about the actual instance itself? What's going to be there? We don't 100% know, but my gut tells me, knowing Blizzard, that will just be like, we're going to have a whole new zone designed, probably attached to the continent this time. I hope it's not phased like the other one instance, like the current one is.
Sure.
It's weird. If you ever try to go to like Quel'Thalas or whatever, you actually have to go through instance door to get in there.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually not technically connected to the Eastern Kingdoms.
Yeah.
Technically, like in the the coding of the game. My gut tells me that old content, even old Silver Moon and everything, will still remain. I don't think it's going away.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be gone forever. I think it's just going to be accessed a different way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you can still run in and do all that content, but I don't know the whole story of the bear. The Amani Warbear was a sick mount though back when it came out. It was one of the coolest mounts ever. Nowadays it's kind of like just a generic bear mount thing. But it was once actually like a really, really awesome mount. So
sweet.
Awesome.
Like I say, that was definitely a swag question.
All right. Here is another question we have for the podcast from Draga. A little easier to read off my phone rather than off the screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Draga said, what are your top 3 racial starting zones? I finally made a human the other day to try the starting zone, and it was a huge disappointment. I'd like to eventually try them all, but I'm looking for some to prioritize. Can be Horde or Alliance. Do you have any that you prefer? I don't know if you've even done any of them.
I've done the DK starting zone. I think that's the only one I've ever done, to be honest.
Yeah, it's cool. That one feels like a drag sometimes.
Yeah, the DK one does feel kind of like draggy because you're like constantly going from like the floaty ship in the sky, I always like to call it. You're constantly going from that down back to I don't even know where it is. Yeah. And then you're constantly like going back and forth, and then you meet.
Yeah, you're like on like a random like corner of the Plague Lands or whatever.
Yeah, and then you're just like, oh, there's Arthas, and then it's over.
And it's over. Yeah. It's an interesting one. It's not terrible though.
No, it's not bad.
I don't know if it's the worst one. It's not my favorite. It might not be my favorite because I've done it so many times. I pretty much know it like the back of my hand. I kept back in Wrath. I just kept making Death Knights over and over and over again. I don't know why I did. I liked it back then because back then it was cool. I don't know if it aged super well. So for me, if I were to say my top 3, let's start at 3 and work our way to 1.
Sure.
Right. So I would say number 3 for me, and this one actually is probably the most engaging and interesting of them all, is probably the Worgen. The Worgen starting zone is really cool. The Worgen starting zone is really cool. If you like the Worgen starting zone, I would also suggest doing the Goblin one. Both of them came out at the same time. There's a little bit more story to them, a little bit more happening. It feels more engaging. Most starting zones just start out like, oh, hey, you're whatever. Here, do whatever, right?
I feel like I do remember doing the Worgen starting zone, actually. Actually, I vaguely remember doing the Worgen starting mode.
Yeah, it's a cool little zone. So I would encourage that one. Chicken, I would even say you should try the Goblin one. You would enjoy the Goblin one. It's fun. You get to understand how the Goblins join the Horde. But if we were to look at like older starting zones even, right? So my second favorite starting zone would actually probably be, and this isn't because Midnight's coming out and it's going to redo Quel'Thalas, but I actually genuinely like the Blood Elf starting zone.
Okay.
It hasn't, I mean, it's still beautiful. It's gorgeous. When you go to it now, you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely old. Like you can tell it's old, but it's still beautiful. You know how like some things you're like, oh yeah, this definitely like is old, but it still looks good. That's one of them. It definitely needs a refresher. Bad, like really bad.
Yeah.
The Draenei starting zone came out at the same time, and I did both of them a lot because I liked playing Blood Elves and I liked playing Draenei, right? The Draenei one's just kind of boring.
Okay.
It doesn't have as much life to it because the idea of the Draenei one is that their ship crashed onto this island. And when I say ship, I mean spaceship. The spaceship crashed onto the island, right?
Interesting.
And now they're just figuring things out, right? So there's not like a whole lot of developed area. A lot of it's just like, oh, hey, look, this town is just a couple huts. The Blood Elf one is more like, yo, this is our homeland, and we're trying to recover after getting mana addicted and all this stuff, right? So Blood Elf one has more, I think, culture infused into it, building designs, secret things going on.
Sure.
Right? Like it's just cooler. It's just a lot cooler, I think. So I like that one a lot.
That's your number 2.
That's my number 2. And then my number one is the original. I mean, it's still good post Cataclysm. They updated, I think, in Cataclysm, but I love the original. Actually, before I say this, honorable mention. Here's a weird one. Weird honorable mention. I don't know why. I like the Orc and Troll starting zone. Again, pre-Cata. So before Cataclysm, Orcs and Trolls started in the same zone, right? Couldn't tell you why. I just like it. Okay? I don't know why I did a bunch. There's not a lot there. It's just orange dirt, but I liked it.
Fair enough.
It was fun. And then you would go to the Barrens, and the Barrens was awesome, so you can't lose there. But, so that's an honorable mention. Number 1, though, for me, is the Forsaken. The Forsaken starting zone, the original one. Going through, getting to Silver Pine, going through like that whole like 1 to 20 leveling experience, 1 to 25 even. I love that whole space, and I think there's so much good lore in there, so much story to tell with the fall of Lordaeron, right? You see this like land that's been like ravaged by war, but now the undead are living there. So you get to witness the Undercity, which is the ruins of Lordaeron, right? And you go to this underground city there. You get to kind of like witness how the undead are like adjusting to this new life that they have, like how wild it is. It's got this like spooky kind of vibe to it. Back then, I thought the Worgen were like the coolest thing ever. Weirdly enough, I don't care as much now that they're playable. But back when they were just like random beasts that you would encounter, I was like, these are awesome. There's so much story to them. I think part of it was just how mysterious they were.
Yeah,
right? I like creatures that have some mystery behind them. I love that you could go and like walk past these historical sites, like where Thrall used to be enslaved, right? Like you get to kind of see like all these things, which by the way, I don't know if you knew this, but the word, like the name Thrall just means slave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why he likes to go by Goel. I think they stopped doing that. For a while, they're like, his new name is Goel. That was his real Orcish name.
Yeah.
I think in Shadowlands, they just kept calling him Thrall again. So
yeah. So
I don't remember.
Like, just go with it.
Thrall's just a more iconic name. Don't change it. Don't change it. Everybody knows Thrall. It helps with marketing just to call him Thrall.
Yeah.
All I'd say though, the Forsaken starting zone I think is really cool. And again, those early starting zones, like the Worgen one I mentioned, is like very story driven. It's like you start off and Gilneas is under attack by Worgen.
Yeah.
You're trying to fight them off.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yet,
Yeah,
right? You haven't become one yet. They're just under attack.
I remember
trying
that
to defend
one.
them.
Yeah.
And that one is really cool. It's very story oriented. But the original starting zones weren't that. The original starting zones were like literally the undead ones, like, yo, you just came back to life. Welcome to being undead. We're gonna
What's going on?
We're gonna teach you how to fight, right?
Yeah.
Good luck out in the world. The orc one, right, which I reference, is literally just like, yo, you're a nobody orc. Can you go kill some scorpions and get me some apples, please?
Yeah,
right. And you just kind of work your way up from that. So, there's something I do like about that. But yeah, those are probably my 3 favorite zones.
Yeah, something triggered in my mind when we were talking about this, and I was like, oh, well, I said the DK starting zone. That's definitely not a race zone, but anyways, the Drekthir starting zone I think is really good too.
Oh, that's a very good one.
Because that one, it feels kind of like the Worgen one as well, where you're like, oh, you're learning that you can kind of turn into this dragon, and you're learning that you can soar and fly and do all that kind of stuff. And then you're also trying to, kind of do all this stuff on the Forbidden Isles. That one felt pretty good too. Yeah. So
now, one note I will make: some people have talked poorly about the Earthen starting zone.
Oh, really?
But I want to make a very important distinction. Drekthir are a playable race. Earthen are an allied race.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? And so allied races generally don't even have a starting zone.
Yeah.
The Earthen just has a very quick brief, here's how you use some of your Earthen abilities because they're more unique, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify that real fast. That if you're like, well, the Earthen one was terrible, why is the Drekthir one good? Because they're actually different things. The allied races, and I don't know if a lot of people know this actually, allied races is a term that Blizzard uses for races that are simpler than other races, right?
Gotcha.
So they use the same skeletons from other races. It's why I think the Amani trolls might become playable because they're using the skeleton of orcs for the female Amani trolls.
Gotcha.
So they reuse assets in order to create the allied races. Even the Colterans use a dwarf skeleton, I believe, in their design. Even though they don't look like a dwarf, I believe it's a heavily modified dwarf skeleton. So, so basically all that to say, allied races are simpler to design than like a full actual playable race.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like a Drekthir is from the ground up. Okay, so next question coming in from Sean. He says, with racials becoming less and less unique, what are some racials that you would like to see added to the game? So obviously like abilities
racial
that
abilities.
races have, yeah.
It's kind of hard. I mean, because it's hard to add. It's hard for me to think of racials because I feel like they almost have to be like, I don't want to say dumb, but like they have to be like dumbed down and not as important enough that it's not as it's not as much of a need.
While you're thinking about it, here's a thought I have. This isn't really a racial ability, and by the way, also I do think I don't know, man. Racials are such a funny one because a lot of people get really upset over racials because they offer, quote, too much of an advantage.
And it's like,
my thing, though, is the people that affects are like the top 0.1%.
Yeah, of players,
right? Let the other 99.9% just have fun, right?
Yeah,
like,
right? Yeah.
I get it.
To me, it doesn't matter.
Right, and what's funny to me, right, is like, one person is over here like, dude, I love that my Forsaken gets to eat people, or my Night Elf can shadow melt because I get to like hide in the woods and I feel like a Night Elf, right? Like cool, right? And then some other dude is like, yo, man, I really want to just push plus 25 keys, and because it hurts me of the tiniest bit ever, doing the one really niche thing I want to do, I think everybody should be punished and have removed, right?
That's
dude, like,
whatever. Come on.
And by the way, I don't have sympathy when someone goes, yeah, but I don't want to play a Night Elf to do keys. Okay, well, first of all, you don't have to play a Night Elf to do keys. Second off,
not everyone does.
You're saying, hey, I really want to do plus 25 keys, and I really want, and I'm saying 25 as a hyperbole, I really want to do plus 25 keys, and I really want to have every possible advantage I can get to do them. Okay, cool. Then go play the Night Elf and deal with it.
You just got to do it.
Suck it up. That's your choice. That's your choice
to
say,
sorry.
Right. And that's fine. It's fine to say, oh, what I want to do requires me to make certain choices, right?
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
It just is. It just is what it is, right?
No, I'm not sorry, actually.
No, right? Now, with that said, though, one, it's not a racial ability. While you're still thinking, it's not a racial ability. But one thing I think would be cool, I like world building things. I like things that make me feel like the world is actually truly alive.
Sure.
And when we go to Dornigal, why are the doors so big in Dornigal? Right? Like, I play a Tauren, and I can walk through the doors.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be able to. I think Dornigal should have buildings that have dwarf-sized doors. And if you're taller than a dwarf, you can't walk into that room.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? And I know you're like, oh, but that's inconvenient. Obviously, don't make it the really important things. Don't make it the Mythic plus portal room, right?
Yeah.
Don't make it the bank, right? Like, don't make it the auction house.
Just make like certain things. That'd be kind of.
But have a few buildings.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
a good handful of buildings that are like, yo, if you want to walk in this door, you have to like turn yourself into a dwarf or smaller, right?
Yeah, that'd be kind of neat.
And again, just small things that are like, oh yeah, that's kind of like, right? I don't know. To me, I would be like, yeah. That feels like world building. My character's bigger. The dwarfs, the earthen here, they don't have anyone else living with them. Why would they ever have built doors big enough to fit a Tauren into their house?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of any, to be honest. But yours is kind of cool, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like that, actually.
Yeah. Right, so I think I could see some world building things. It's hard to say, like, racial abilities. If I'm thinking
I'm just, like, terrible at thinking of that.
Yeah, if I'm thinking, like, non-combat racial abilities.
Yeah.
Things that would be fun. Man, I do think it would be cool to like. What if one had like an extra vigor?
Oh, that'd be kind of neat.
Well, I guess vigor's going away, right? They're getting rid of vigor, and then.
Yeah. Or
and races, people in Dragonrun races might be upset.
Yeah.
But they could limit it. They could say, oh no, in special combat raid fights. And dragon riding races, you have normal vigor, but then outside in the open world, you have an extra one.
Oh, yeah, that's
you could do something like that. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, that'd be kind of neat.
That could be kind of cool, right? I would take like a double jump, right?
A double jump. Ooh,
right.
Yeah,
not the double jump and glide that Demon Hunter, but just a normal double jump.
Right?
Like think like if Mechagnomes just had like a little jetpack that just bumped them up a little bit higher.
Yeah. That'd be kind of neat.
That'd be cool. I can see that.
Yeah, that would be kind of neat.
All right. I think this is going to be our last question because we are running out of time for our, again, 50-second episode. This has been good. All right.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the current state of the Horde and Alliance? We've had the Horde Council for roughly 2 expansions now. I know that Turalyon has been the leader in Anduin's absence, but I'm not an Alliance main, so I'm not super up on the beginnings with them. From the Horde side, it feels all right. Definitely feels like we've sort of lost part of the Horde, though. I hadn't thought too much about that until I saw a headline from Bellular. Haven't watched it, though. I have not seen that headline from Bellular. Haven't watched it. So whatever we're about to say is not influenced by what he's going to say. But I do have my own thoughts on it. However, I'll let Chicken answer that question first and his thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
great thoughts, chicken.
Yeah,
I like what you had to say.
Yeah.
I like what you
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just trolling. I figured that probably wasn't a question that you had too much.
You know, it all comes back to, I just really just don't know a time where it seems like there was a big difference between the two. Yeah. Ever since I've played the game, it doesn't really seem like there's ever been like a split faction between the two. So it's hard for me to really comment on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So sorry.
No, you're all good. So I believe it's been to this from. I'm trying to think timeline. I'm trying to think timeline right now for a quick second. I want to say Shadowlands to Dragonflight was 5 years. There's a 5-year gap in there somewhere, right? And then Anduin went missing for a while. Maybe it was during the 5 year after. Yeah, Anduin went missing. So he was gone after Shadowlands. He kind of went into his thing. So I think it was. I think it was from Shadowlands to Dragonflight was our 5-year gap. A lot has happened. Okay. Turalyon has been leading the Horde, or not leading the Horde, leading the Alliance ever since Anduin left. Turalyon is Illyria's husband, so the Void Elf we've been rolling around with. Her husband, except instead of Void, he's the leader of the Army of the Light. So Paladin to the extreme, right? Not that guy, but Paladin to the extreme. Amazing dude, right? Questionable sometimes. Maybe he can be a little too aggressive. Maybe he could become a zealot. We don't know. However, he's been leading the Alliance. What's hard for us, though, as players, is we're not playing during that 5-year time jump, right? We just jump in 5 years later. So we see him, and then all of a sudden Anduin's back. So we don't actually see Turalyon do anything, and I think that's the point. I don't think Turalyon was taking over the Alliance. I think it was literally like, hey, we're going to bring Anduin back. We're just having this guy sit in his seat for a minute.
Yeah,
right?
Just for like a hot second.
So Anduin is the leader of the Alliance. Feels good. We're starting to see him again. Hopefully he steps back into that role. Maybe in Midnight, we're going to see Turalyon do some weird stuff as we're seeing that light and void kind of war rage on.
Yeah.
However, what I want to focus on actually is I'm not happy with the Horde right now. The Horde, and not because I'm an Alliance main at the moment. I do actually like the Horde a lot. Genuinely, I actually think the Horde are a lot of fun. The problem that I actually have is that, okay, I'm gonna test you. Who is the leader of the Horde?
Isn't it that guy right there? Thrall?
No, it's not Thrall. Thrall started the modern Horde. He started the modern Horde. He was the war chief for a long time. He's not currently.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No idea, right?
No idea.
There's actually a council. There's a council of leaders, right?
Okay.
So you have like Bane, you have Lorthamar, and then you have like others in this council as well. And then the undead have their own council of leaders. So I don't even know which one is their representative for the Horde Council. And that's the problem I have. The problem I have is sometimes World of Warcraft in their storytelling tries too hard to be like, oh yeah, we're like all getting along and like this is the most optimal, great, happy ending possible, right? And so for them, it was like, oh, we've had 2 back-to-back terrible war. Well, we had Vol'jin, but Vol'jin didn't last very long. All right, we had Sylvanas and we had Garrosh, and they're the worst. So no more war chief. It's just we're gonna do it by council. We're gonna work together, which on paper is like nice. I'm happy for you. Good job. But in practice is like, yo, who the heck is the war chief?
Who makes a decision?
Like what I want to have a character that I'm like fighting for, right?
Yeah.
And so like it's cool like when I get to see Anduin, I'm like, yeah, that's my king. Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. Yeah. Right? And I think Blizzard's missing out right now where they don't have it's just you lose so much awesome character development opportunity by having the council. The council just feels weak. It feels lame. It doesn't feel like it's going to do anything. And so I do suspect we're going to see a war chief step up eventually. My preferences, right? I know Kalia is kind of partly leading the undead as part of a council. I don't want to be her. She's too passive, right? She's too passive. I don't want somebody who's warmongering, but I do want somebody who like I would be scared of in a fight.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So Lorthamar's pretty cool, and we are going into a Blood Elf themed expansion. So Lorthamar's definitely a good contender. You saw him in the cinematic. He was the guy in the cinematic that was fighting. Older elf.
Fighting. Okay. Yeah.
Right? He's cool. My personal pick, though, dude, I have been for a long time a big fan of a character named Bane. And his father Cairn before his father died, right?
Sure.
Bane is the leader of the Torn, and he's awesome, right?
Yeah.
He's got honor. He's very honorable. He's gentle and patient. He's kind, right? Everything we see with Bane in the Warcraft story is constantly patience, kindness, protective. But dude, Bane is strong.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if anybody else could take Bane on in a hand-to-hand fight. Does that make sense? Like, he is just going to decimate you. But he is a gentle giant in the truest sense of the word, right? And so I could see a Bane being a really good war chief for the Horde, much more in line with probably like what like a Thrall was, right? Where it's like, hey, look, my goal isn't conquering Kalimdor, right?
Sure.
My goal isn't the absolute demolition of the Alliance, but I will do what needs to be done to protect people. I will do it with honor, and I'll do it with excellence. Bane also allows the Horde to become this more Azeroth-centric group, right? Where it's kind of like, no, like the Horde are actually trying to live in harmony with people around them, not in opposition with people around them. But sometimes that does mean stepping up and fighting, right? Sometimes that does mean conflict, especially if you believe what you're doing is for the greater good, right? Sure. So I think Bane could be a really cool war chief. Or Sylvanas comes back and she becomes war chief.
Sylvanas.
I actually still to this day hate how they use Sylvanas. I thought Sylvanas becoming war chief had so much story potential, and they flushed it just to be like, oh, it was the jailer manipulation. Because the thing about Sylvanas was she always worked in the shadows, right? And I know she's not coming back as war chief. If she does, I'd actually be happy, but she's not. It's definitely not happening. But the problem with Sylvanas was she always had to operate in the shadows because she was the leader of the Forsaken, doing kind of some sketchy things, more so shadow organizational type stuff. I was hoping when she became the leader of the Horde that you would see this character arc for Sylvanas where she had to learn how to lead from the light, not from the shadows, right? That she would have to lead from out in the open, and it would actually change her character to being like, okay, I actually have to learn how to like be this representative that people can be proud of, and somebody honorable, somebody right who represents the best of the Horde, rather than just becoming this like warmongering machine for the sake of sending more souls to the maw, right? Like that was kind of stupid. That was terrible. I actually thought they had the setup to make the best ever character arc for Sylvanas. And they just decimated it, right? They just
drilled it to the ground.
Yeah, they destroyed it. So that's that. I would like to see Bane become leader of the Horde. I think he's earned it. I think he's been around. And don't do the Vol'jin thing with him. Don't make him leader of the Horde for like one expansion where he doesn't show up at all.
Yeah.
And then make someone else. Like there was a troll named Vol'jin who became leader of the Horde. I love Vol'jin. You actually met him in Shadowlands.
Sure.
He became a Loa. Remember, it was that troll that becomes a Loa. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Don't remember anything.
It had to do with the Ardenweald. Story. You're all good. But Chicken, I think that's all the time we have for the podcast today. We're so excited to record with you live in person. This probably won't happen again anytime soon But if you do prefer maybe a more video-centric podcast experience, we could talk about what it looks like in the future to maybe find some way to do it on a easier to replicate scale. Driving out here and doing it here can be a lot during the week. So, but we really enjoyed it. Sorry, normally I'm pretty good at wrapping up the podcast, but this is just so different. So thank you so much to all our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, there's a link down below in the description. It would be huge. Also, if you want to hang out and chat with us during the week, there's a link to my Discord down below. Come hang out. Come chat with us. And also links to other socials and whatnot down there. And we like to always say this, but if you're out there looking for a guild, trying to find people to game with that you're excited to spend time with, who are not toxic, a place that you can actually learn how to do M+, do raids, or even just like have friends to farm old content with, our guild Astra is a wonderful guild. Pop into my Discord. Let me know you're interested in joining Astra. My Discord is not the guild Discord. I want to clarify. Sometimes that confuses people. We just don't post our guild Discord link out there publicly. And so if you're curious about finding out more, you can hop in Discord and ask us, and we'd be happy to answer that. But thank you so much. We're excited for the next 52 episodes of this podcast. And maybe we'll be back in these seats 1 year from today.
True. Thanks for 1 year.
Thank you for 1 year.